Previously, in Chapter 2, The Green Veil, we witnessed Jack Barrett begin his testimony before Congress, recounting the first night of the Rendlesham incident. He described the strange lights, the sudden radio silence, and the overwhelming time distortion he and his team encountered deep in the forest. Unbeknownst to them, an advanced experiment was unfolding, a convergence of secret technologies and an ancient anomaly buried beneath the earth. The truth, they weren't just chasing lights, they were chosen. Now, in Chapter 3, Echoes, we go behind the scenes, into the minds of those who orchestrated what Jack would walk into the early stages of Echo Protocol, the deliberate entanglement of time, consciousness, and plasma-based intelligence. You'll meet the scientists who knew more than they were allowed to say, and you'll learn just how far they were willing to go to provoke the unknown. And as Jack comes face to face with a mirrored version of himself, one thing becomes clear. This wasn't a coincidence. This was the beginning of a message.
Time forgets to turn. A spark was drawn from silence, and frost began to burn. Footsteps in the static, shadows split the dawn. They walked into the breach and something else walked on. We didn't stumble through the dark, we followed voices from the spark. A signal called, we stepped inside, not just a gate, but a fault line wide. We weren't alone, we were designed. The forest knew the veil was signed. Metal in the sky fell quiet, pushed by mind and flame. Not with missiles, not with force, but something with no name. He watched himself from outside time. Reflections been outpace the deep below, a structure waits, older than war, beyond the fates. A pulse, a breath, a mirrored eye. It whispered truth beneath the sky. We didn't stumble through the dark, we were invited from the start. Echoes stretched across the line between the signal and the sign. The veil pulled back, the silence fled. We touched the past and summoned the future instead.
December 25, 1980, East Anglia, England. Dr. Elias Voss lit a cigarette on a cliff edge near Orford Ness, the North Sea wind slicing through his coat. His eyes scanned the dark horizon, not for weather, not for waves, but for resonance. He wasn't just here as a physicist. He was a guardian of the unexplainable. Behind him, Christopher Pike, an astrophysicist working on an officially funded plasma physics project during the time of the Rendlesham incident, arrived late, stumbling through documents and bags. He'd been summoned 2 days before Christmas with no brief, only a name, Echo Protocol. Pike had previously focused on ball lightning, natural plasma glows, earth lights, and similar phenomena. Plasmas are electrified gas in which the atoms have been split into positively charged nuclei and negatively charged electrons. If you pump energy into a gas, it creates a plasma. He somehow became embroiled in scientific investigations in Suffolk in late December 1980, unaware at the time that a UAP incident was developing. What he thought was a physics investigation was dangerously overlapping into the murky world of ufology. The Berwyn incident connection. Pike had studied UAP plasma cases before, including the mysterious Berwyn Mountains incident in Wales. A night of fireballs, ground tremors, and a metallic object retrieved under military secrecy. But this was more structured, more intentional. Martlesham Heath, SCIF briefing. Pike was taken into a SCIF beneath RAF Martlesham Heath, where Voss, NSA observers, and MOD DI-55 analysts convened. They weren't chasing UAPs, they were preparing to stage one. The operation: use a directed atmospheric burst to bring down a Soviet Zenit 6U satellite, then observe how the anomaly interacted with the surrounding fields. Operation Echo Protocol. On the early morning of December the 26th, 1980, 0200, a coordinated effort was launched. A classified radar array, retrofitted with pulse compression technology and integrated with a modular phased array emitter system, focused on the predicted re-entry window of the Soviet Zenit 6U reconnaissance satellite. At precisely 2 a.m., the system released a concentrated beam of terahertz radiation interlaced with ELF, extremely low frequency, harmonic waves. This energy, focused like a lens through the misty upper layers of the troposphere, destabilized the satellite's orbital integrity. Unbeknownst to most involved, a secondary component had also been activated, a human one. Voss and Pike had been working with a classified Department of Defense contractor to test the effects of directed cognitive influence, psionics, on signal-reactive plasma environments. A test subject, remotely monitored and emotionally amplified through a psychoacoustic induction system, was present at the moment of satellite destabilization. The combined waveform, both technological and conscious, triggered a resonance collapse, resulting in the satellite systems catastrophically failing. It was not just shot down, it was pulled down. 3 goals: bring down the satellite quietly, stage a cover phenomenon in Rendlesham, study the anomaly's temporal reaction. "We're not testing technology," Voss said. "We're testing reality." Back at RAF Woodbridge, Jack Barrett, 21, was restless. His instincts screamed. He felt the shift before it happened. The air warped, the forest lit with light that wasn't from stars. He stepped toward it. He didn't know he was stepping into the center of an experiment. He only knew he had to go. Classified testimony. Present day. Back in the present, inside a closed-door hearing, Jack stared into a panel of stunned officials. The object wasn't Russian, it wasn't alien, it was aware. He paused. And I wasn't the first. But I may have been the first to survive it. The mind fracture. When Jack woke in the infirmary at RAF Bentwaters, his bones felt like they were vibrating. The lights were too bright, but the shadows beneath them too slow. Dr. Elias Voss stood at his bedside. No clipboard, no small talk. "I'm not your physician," he said, "but I am your analyst." Jack stared at him. "Why do I feel like I'm still in it?" Voss looked over his shoulder as if someone might be listening. "Because you are." He paused. "You're carrying the harmonic residue." Voss handed Jack a small Polaroid, one of the classified photos recovered near Capel Green. At first glance, it was just a blur of mist and light. But behind the anomaly, faintly visible through the trees, was Jack. And behind Jack, another figure, identical stance, identical uniform, face obscured. Jack whispered, "That's not possible." Voss sat down. "We think your consciousness bifurcated." Dr. Elias Voss, internal memo. Restricted circulation, subject, neural displacement and signal trace. Barrett anomaly. Barrett exhibits symptoms of entangled awareness. He is reporting memories that have not yet occurred. Time exposure appears to have fractured his cognitive mirror. His body remains here. His mind may not. Echo Protocol Debrief, Entry Number 7, Audio Redacted, RAF Martlesham Heath, Temporary Black Trace Facility. Voss and Pike sat in a dim analysis chamber, reviewing telemetry from the forest. "Rewind 12 seconds, Voss said. Pike tapped the console. The infrared recording slowed, revealing the moment Jack entered the light. "There," Voss whispered. "Do you see it?" A brief pulse, too brief to register as visual, flickered across the screen. Then a shadow peeled away from Jack's form. It moved in reverse, like a film unspooling backwards. A mirror walking away from its subject. The Russian intercept. On December 26, 1980, a GRU signals unit outside Kaliningrad intercepted a narrow band frequency pulsed from East Anglia. The message was encrypted using a Cold War-era protocol not in service since 1974. The content was a single phrase, repeated 3 times. "Echo protocol is active." The intercept reached Soviet High Command within 4 hours. Their response? Escalate orbital surveillance. Within 72 hours, a reconnaissance satellite passed over Capel Green. It captured something moving beneath the frost line. It wasn't natural. It wasn't alone. The underground structure. Back at Martlesham Heath, excavation had already begun. A buried structure was discovered 200 feet beneath Capel Green. Not ruins, not rock, machined alloy, precision carved, pre-atomic. Pike stood at the edge of the borehole. "This thing's older than the Cold War," he said. "Maybe older than war." Voss ran his hand over a hexagonal interface, still warm to the touch. "It's emitting a biosignal." Jack approached the edge, and the structure pulsed. A ring of light shimmered across the interface, matching his breathing. Then he heard it, a voice, inside his skull. "You're already inside." Mind space log. Christopher Pike. Entry redacted. Date, December 26, 1980. We believe the structure below Capel Green is a form of temporal anchor, either left here or activated by the recent energy event. Its interaction with Barrett is unique. No other test subject, civilian or trained, has elicited a signal reaction. I fear we are not just dealing with consciousness bleed. We are dealing with a convergence vector. Barrett may be the fulcrum. Or the fuse. Back in the vault. Jack sat motionless. The red light above him flickered, then steadied. "Do you believe this was a test?" one of the interviewers asked. Jack didn't answer right away. He stared at the photograph still clutched in his hand, the one with his twin reflection watching from behind the mist. Then he looked up. "No," he said. It was a message. Post-debrief protocol. Before Jack could process what came next, Voss gave a subtle nod to the attending medical officer. A cold hush followed. "We can't risk destabilization," Voss said quietly. "He needs to forget, for now." Jack was administered a controlled neurochemical block designed to suspend recall of the debrief, the structure, and the signal. Not a permanent erasure, only a veil. "It's reversible," Pike confirmed, "but necessary. He'll remember when the signal wants him to." Within hours, Jack Barrett was returned to duty. No memory of the testimony, no knowledge of what was buried beneath Capel Green. But the signal was still inside him. And it was waiting. In Chapter 3, we learned that the phenomenon was never random. The Soviet satellite wasn't just targeted, it was bait. Jack Barrett wasn't a bystander. He was the signal's catalyst. Through psionic interaction, harmonic residue, and the emergence of a future self, Jack began to fracture, not just in memory, but in time. The structure beneath Capel Green responded to him, the plasma field stabilized around him, and the phenomenon, it spoke through him. Now, in Chapter 4, the signal splice, the ripple effect of that first night begins to reach forward. Jack wakes, confused and changed, still under the pull of the forest, but far away in 2025, inside a hidden congressional vault, new players step forward. Dr. Elias Voss takes the stand, and what he reveals will shake the foundation of national defense, time theory, and what we thought we knew about the Tic-Tac incident. Prepare yourselves. The signal wasn't just received, it was replicated.
Through the silence of time, I walked alone, but the stars knew my name in undertone. From Rendlesham woods to Saturn skies, I carry the echo, I live